4. And we are recording. Greetings to all in the love and light of the one infinite creator. My name is Jonathan Tong, and I facilitate the Seattle Law of One meditation and discussion group that meets on Zoom on Tuesdays from 3:30 to 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. We can be found on Facebook. We are also included on the list of study groups on the L&L Research website. You don't have to live in Seattle to join. All are welcome to join us on Zoom if you are available at that time. Jim McCarty joins us again today for some conversation and some questions about the Law of One. I would probably be remiss if we did not send some love and light to our friends and other selves in Kentucky and other states who have been impacted by tornadoes recently. Jim wanted to say welcome. Thank you for joining us. And how are things going in Kentucky and the aftermath of the tornadoes?
Well, there's been a lot of attempts at recovery as much as possible. The devastation was absolutely unimaginable. The tornado was 3/4 of a mile wide with 200-mile-an-hour winds. So the town of Mayfield, 10,000 people, has pretty much been leveled. There are a few buildings that are somewhat standing, but they're all damaged. Dawson Springs, close to Mayfield, is in the same shape, 2,500 people. There have been 77 deaths. That's the deadliest tornado in the history of Kentucky. And there's all kinds of good people coming around trying to help out, though. Mercy chefs have been making thousands of meals every day. The local state park some miles away has taken people in, so they have a place. Some people have a place to stay. People have come from around the state with food and water in their cars or trucks and offered it to whoever they meet. It's bringing out the best in a lot of people, but the devastation is just incredible. And it's going to take years and years to recover. It's a farming community, and all of the farming businesses have been destroyed. The John Deere with the equipment, the chicken hatchery, the grain elevator with 5 million bushels of grain, everything is gone. It's just hard to believe that every day now, still, since it's been over a week, the paper has more pictures of things going on and inspiring stories of people helping out, like I said. So it's going to be a long road to recovery. It's hard to imagine.
Yeah, I think it's easy for folks who are living far away, like I am on the West Coast, to feel a little bit removed from it. And just seeing maybe a couple pictures or newspaper articles, I'm sure, does not do justice. So I hope we can all take a couple moments to send some love and light to those folks there and give thanks for those who are taking these opportunities to be of service to others to help. Did also notice that on your Camelot journal, I think it was December 15th, you posted a number of organizations that we can send some money to help out, and we will be sure to post those in the comment section for this video when we post it.
I'm sure it'll be much appreciated.
Otherwise, if you don't mind, I had a question that I wanted to lead off with before we open it up for other questions. I was listening to, I think, the most recent podcast on the L&L page, and I know that you had mentioned at that point that you were working on Living the Law of One, 102 and 103. These would be follow-ups to the beautiful book that Carla wrote on Living the Law of One, 101, the choice. And I was wondering if you can share with us a little bit about the writing process, what it was like for you.
Well, first of all, I was extremely fortunate to find the outlines that Carla had written for 102 and 103. The one for 102, I believe, was complete. The one for 103 wasn't quite complete, but I've been able to finish that myself. And the process for me has been to go back and reread 101 to try to get a feel for the way that Carla wrote. And Carla had a very personal way of writing. She would include her own personal experiences, if possible, with whatever topic she was discussing. And that makes it a very endearing and accessible type of information. And I tend to be more factual. So I have, in my own writing attempts, attempted to present more of my personal experience and thoughts to go along with that. And I think that has been a blessing as well to the writing process. But in general, once I got underway, I guess it was a year ago, November, that I started the writing, I would simply sit and meditate for a few minutes and ask that the Father's will be done through me. And then I would take however much time was necessary to investigate the topic at hand. Because in the raw contact, we had over 2,600 questions. So many topics were covered 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. And Don did that on purpose, because sometimes when he would ask a question in a slightly different way, those of Ra would give more information on that topic, kind of round it out. You know, the jewel became more faceted. So in my own writing, I tried to look for all the information that was available on whatever topic was in the outline, and share that in a way that was hopefully as personally oriented and as accurate in facts as possible. And that was the way I did it every day. I'd only work in the mornings on the book, on the 102 and 103, because that's when I felt the freshest, more emotionally and intellectually and probably spiritually alert, and able to say things in the very best way that I could. So that was the way I did it. And I just took my time. I wasn't in any hurry to try to get things done. I just took my time, and I only left the topic when it felt like it was done well as I could do it. You know, I think I follow a little bit short of what Carla could do, but I did my best, and I'm pleased with the effort. I was able to get some good help in editing 102 by Diana Roy, the same person who helped Gary edit a concept guide. And yeah, she has a way of, she didn't, work with just spelling, grammar, and punctuation. She worked with content and was able to state things in a loving and perceptive way, taking maybe a different tack than I had taken in many ways. And so I was very blessed by that. So I think sometime in the early January, probably Gary and Austin will be able to start the editing, and we'll go back and forth for a while. And we're pretty sure that it'll get published in 2022. I don't know if we'll get as far as 103 then, but we'll continue working on that when that's all done. So it's in process. They've been so busy with getting our new website going and getting the resource book going and doing just so many things in the office that they just weren't able to get to it for a while. And I totally understand that, because we're considering hiring a new person to be a part of our L&L staff now, to hopefully take some of the load off of their shoulders. So all is well, and it's working out well.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Yes, thank you for sharing. If your writing style in the books is anything like your writing style in the Camelot Journal, I think it's going to be really beautiful and touching on the heart and mind and soul level for all, I'm sure. And knowing that Diana has been involved too is awesome too. She did wonderful work on the concept guide. I would love to talk more about this, but I think we've got some other questions that other folks want to ask. So I did want to read a couple questions that were sent to me in advance, if you don't mind. I do see the questions in the chat window, and for sure we'll get to those. There are a couple questions that folks sent in advance. One is from our good friend Linda Hoagland from Lafayette, Louisiana, who was planning on joining us today, but had a family emergency needed to tend to. But Linda said, Jim, you said last session that Carla suggested a meditation technique. Are you able to tell us what that technique was?
Well, I can give you some information about it. It's a technique that is in progress, and that was the purpose, to continue a type of meditation that might give me more access to the indigo and violet ray, which is the gateway intelligent energy for the indigo and intelligent infinity for the violet, which is basically a process of becoming more aware of the creator within. So the process that I've developed thus far has a couple of names. I didn't realize that I had developed a process that there was already being used by various people. Some people call it pranayama, and other people call it square breathing. And the reason they call it square breathing is that as you take an inhale of approximately 5, 6, 7 seconds, then you hold your breath for the same amount of time. And then you exhale for the same amount of time. And then you hold your breath on the inhale at the exhale. So you're holding your breath twice and inhaling and exhaling. And so that makes it square because all of that goes about in a kind of a pattern of the same amount of time. And as I'm doing all of this, my eyes, of course, are shut, but they are focused on the indigo ray energy center. And I attempt to shoot my concentration or my attention or intention through the indigo into the violet, you might say. So that what happens is that both of them become activated and you can feel the activation. And after a period of time, I am assuming that it would be possible to make more and more of a palpable or discernible contact with the creator, which is already within us and everywhere in the universe. And so I feel that what I'm experiencing with the indigo and violet rays is that there's the beginning contact. I feel what I feel is the activation, which equals the presence of the creator. So that is the whole idea. And I meditate usually about 6 times per day for different lengths of time. And I work on that's my basic framework for my day. I do other things in between my meditations, but the meditations are the most important thing that I do.
And are you integrating that breathing technique in all of the meditations?
Right. That's what I do all the time.
Wow. Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Are those 6 different times? Or are they at more or less consistent times each day, or are they?
Oh, fairly well. Yeah. My first meditation, I'm an early riser, so it's at 4 a.m. and I have my morning offering afterward. And then on my second meditation, somewhere around 9, my third meditation is around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and then 4 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evening, and about 9 o'clock to finish up.
Wow, that's beautiful. Thank you. Yeah, I remember Ra or Quo. I think there was a session I was reading where it talked about the different times of day when the energy of night or the energy of day is at various cycles or peaks or valleys, and how all of those can be great for meditation.
Yeah, I've discovered, oddly enough, just a side effect is that it's easier to meditate longer in the morning, but as the day goes on, the meditations are better, though they're shorter.
Oh, interesting. Any idea why that would be?
I don't know. For the morning thing, I've kind of thought, well, my brain's not quite awake yet. My body's awake, but I'm not sure my brain is. But I really don't have any solid idea about why.
Don't need to know. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that. I did have another question from Andy Burris from UK, who asked, how did Jim and Carla balance the green and blue rays to prevent martyrdom? And those that have a tendency to overextend themselves, what's the advice from the Confederation to achieve wisdom?
Well, a couple of good questions there. It took Carla quite a while, actually, to balance her desire to be of service to the extent that she gave so much of herself that she would be in what Ra called the position of a martyr. And that would be in not being able to have full access to her vital energies because she was expending them when she shouldn't be. Maybe wanting to have a session when it was not a good idea. So somewhere around session 44, we got some good advice from those of Ra, suggesting that we, as a group, decide when Carla was most able to have sessions, and that she agreed to give over the decision making to Don and to me because we weren't so, shall we say, gung ho to have a session whenever possible. I mean, she was willing to have a session anytime because she just wanted so much to be of service to the Creator, to share Confederation philosophy, and to see Don smile as he smiled after a meditation and a session with Ra, because there weren't too many things in Don's life that made him feel as good as the Ra contact did. And to see him laughing and smiling and pacing back and forth, waiting for me to finish transcribing the session, each page that came out of the typewriters in those days, not computers. So that was a thing that I think that was the most helpful thing. And plus, we started off actually in a too much of a desire to have sessions in a hurry. Sometimes in the first 20 sessions, 20 days, we had 2 per day. And that was a martyring aspect of the contact as well. And we as a group had to learn how to modify that and to slow down. Because, I mean, that was just too much. And eventually, we did. So that had to be done as a group. Now, as far as what the Confederation suggests as to developing wisdom, I think that the best piece of advice I've heard is open your heart and listen. Your heart is the fount of all wisdom. So I think wisdom, being of the throat, would be that which you would develop most effectively after your heart was open and you would have an idea about how you wanted to be of service to others, and then be able to maybe refine that idea in a certain way that experience would teach you. And all of it, though, would be based in what you felt in your heart. The intuition, the impulse to be of service to others then would be something that would have to have the input of the heart before it moved any higher.
Yes, that makes sense. Yeah, I appreciate your sharing the experiences with the team. Also, I can totally imagine having that experience of that contact. You would want it all the time if possible. I can totally understand that. Yeah. Andy Burris, I hope that response was helpful to you. If not, feel free to email Jim or post comment something on our Facebook page, and would love to continue the dialogue on that. Jim, by the way, as long as that comes up, am I understanding correctly that people could contact you through the LNL contact?
Yeah, contact@llresearch.org.
Yes. And if you go to the LNL research page, there's the tab for connecting, and would find that there. Right. And appreciate the time. I know you spend a lot of time responding to people's emails.
I'm glad to do it.
Much appreciated. It's a service to others for sure. Let's see, I am looking in the chat window and I do see our first question is from John Santos. John, I think you had a couple different questions. If you could just ask your first one first, feel free to unmute your mic and ask.
Okay, yeah, quick question. Do you have a perspective on the hidden hand document? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely, I've heard about the hidden hand. They say, I'm not mistaken, that they are somewhat of a negative orientation, but they have an opinion about the raw contact. They feel it's very accurate. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else, that I know about them.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know if do you want to go in order? There's other questions.
Yeah, John, if you don't mind, I'd like to go through other questions, and I'll bet we will have time to come back to your second, third question.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you. Appreciate your understanding. Our next question, I believe, is from Josh. Josh, would you like to unmute your mic and ask? Question about meditation, I believe, group meditation.
Thank you very much again, Jim, for allowing the opportunity to ask the question. So I have two questions for you. Is the effect of group meditation stronger when meditators are physically in the same area in space versus something like this remotely on Zoom, or versus someone by themselves just at a specific time?
Well, I could only give you my opinion because I don't know factually whether or not one is better than the other, but I don't believe that distance separating people affects the quality of the meditation if we're all intending to meditate together and to join in that state of consciousness, because consciousness is all pervasive throughout the universe. But I do know that if you happen to be in the same room and there's channeling going on, that the meditation of the group is very beneficial to the channeling. The intentions of people to help bring through information of a spiritual nature that is helpful for our evolutionary journeys is much enhanced by those who are present. But I would think, and now I've never done this before, that if others were meditating elsewhere, they could also aid in that same channeling meditation too. So I think that distance is not that important. And it might also be, and this again is an opinion, I could be wrong, that time is not that important. That if you set your intention to aid in a meditation that is some distance away from you and at a different time, that would also be helpful. Because Ross suggested only in third density do we have a past, a present, and a future. Beyond the third density, everything exists in what they call the eternal present. So I don't think time or distance would really matter.
Thank you very much. And other than meditation, as far as you know, other than meditation, what does the Confederation recommend service to other humans to do to further polarize or increase their harvestability?
Well, over the years, people have asked that question in various forms. And the basic response that has been channeled has been to look around you where you are and see what it is that presents itself to you to do, and look to your own heart to see what passion you have that might be in concordance with other people's needs. Do you want to help as a healer, as a teacher, as a spiritual advisor? Maybe you want to work in a food kitchen to help people that don't have a lot of money get food to eat. It's the possibilities are endless, and each person can determine for themselves what they feel is the most beneficial way to offer their energies in service to others. And I would also suggest that what you actually do is secondary to your desire, your intention, and what you wish to do. Because whatever we're doing, all of us mortal humans fall short. So what's really seen on the level of the spiritual aspect is what our intentions are, because those are the only things we really have any control over, because we don't understand really what's going on. As Ross said, this is not the density of understanding. So, set your intention and do the best you can to fulfill it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's a great question, Josh. Thank you for asking. I have another question from Christian Foster, who I believe had to leave today, but he did leave a few questions in the chat window, and I will just ask the first one to start with, and maybe if we have time, we can come back to his others. Christian wants to know, Jim, what would you define as the path of the adept from your own life experiences after experiencing the raw material firsthand? And is it a path that you still presently tread, if at all?
Well, Ross suggested that basically in the third density, what we're here to do, most people, everybody actually, is to open the heart in unconditional love and to see everyone as the creator. Once you're able to do that, then you yourself are what they call harvestable, or able to graduate into the fourth density of love and understanding. So any work that you do beyond the heart level is considered the work of the adept, whether you go only into the blue ray of clear communication. And Ross suggested that was the first energy center that was truly outgoing, outflowing, that this is the creator. This is the beginning of the creator in each person. When you experience clear communication to others and from others, and even to the point of inspiration, if you're able to inspire others and be inspired by others, then that's the work of the blue ray. And that is the work of the adept. And now even further and more succinctly or powerfully, I would say, is the work of the indigo ray. There is where Ross suggested that we are like the logos in miniature. We have that consciousness available to us, that gateway of intelligent energy that is able, under the right conditions, to make contact through the violet ray with the creator, to have some type of a spiritual awakening, a nirvana, an enlightenment, samadhi, kensho. Various cultures have various names for it. So this is what you can do as an adept. This is the work of the adept. And as Ross said, the adept is seeking to become the creator in order to be of more service to others. I would say that the white magical nature of our reality, the ability to create changes in consciousness at will, are in the indigo ray. And this is where you become a servant of the creator in whatever form it presents itself to you, whatever person is in front of you, whatever group needs your help. Then you offer yourself in that way to be of service. So this is something I've been attempting to travel and still do attempt to travel all of my life long. It's a journey of a lifetime for sure. And I think that's what all of us are on. And I think many people probably on this Zoomcast are what Ra would refer to as wanderers. And wanderers are from higher densities, 4th, 5th, and 6th, mostly 6th, incidentally. And they are here as adepts in the making. They are more likely to pursue that path and to feel the call of moving beyond the green ray into the higher energy centers, and have probably talents that they brought with them into the incarnation to be of service to others. And that's the challenge and the task and the blessing of a wanderer, is to discover those talents within and to exercise them in the outer world as well as in the inner world.
Beautiful. Yeah, a lot to reflect on there. Curtis, I hope that answers your question. If not, feel free to join us again on a Tuesday at our Zoom session. Would love to continue that discussion, or email Jim for further discussion. Our next question is coming from Shayla. Shayla, would you like to unmute your mic and ask?
Sure. Thank you. Hi again.
Hi.
First, thank you for such beautiful and inspiring words about the last question. That was beautiful. So my question concerns about thought forms. So in the glossary, I read that it's the pattern or persistence of thought that in some cases can exhibit persistent metaphysical or physical characteristics and so on. Could you maybe, I don't know, shed more light on what thought form means to you, or how do you perceive it? Maybe for, I don't know, the easier way to understand, because the way I see it, like, can it be linked to, like, we can create with our thoughts forms, and can it also be linked, like in my head, it's how could it be linked to, I don't know, certain parts of mythology, like the deities that we have, you know, Greek or Roman or something. It's like we made them in a way, or they existed before that. Like if we imagine that there's some nature force and we believe in that, we actually create this force, or we give it power. And also on the other hand, can we also actively work on clearing certain lower negative thought forms to, you know, help raising collective consciousness or whatever? Like, how does this thought form? I mean, for me, it's very much all-encompassing and very powerful. I mean, we have very powerful responsibility towards that, what we think, because thought is energy and energy is everything. Okay.
That's
Sorry.
very true. That's very true. In session 16, toward the end of it, I guess probably the last 10 or 15 questions, Ra is talking about this concept, and Don was, because Ra made the statement that our third density has various levels or planes, and it's in quantities of 7, that there's 7 major levels, and then 7, each of those has 7 more, and 7 and 7, 7. And so Don said, well, that's, really increasing at an amazing rate. Is something that I would think about here. If I think about something enough, will it be created at one of these levels of experience? And Ross said, very definitely. Any thought that you concentrate on for any period of time is a form of existence at one of those planes that are subplanes of our third density. Now, we can't see those, but on the inner planes, they are very easily detected. And if we think a certain thought, like Don said, building a ship, if I think of building a ship, would that happen in one of these subplanes? Ross said, yes, indeed it would. And he said, well, if I think about fighting another person, would that happen? And Ross said, yes, it could. This is something you must be careful about, because if you are in opposition to another person, then you are more likely to make that occur in your third density experience. And that is something that one has to be very careful of. So, thinking positive thoughts and having a positive take on your life and looking for the way of positive polarization and not focusing upon anything separating or negative or controlling is really the responsibility of each conscious seeker of truth. Now, as far as people who do not have a spiritual journey and who are not conscious of such a thing, I think it is still possible for them to create these types of thought forms. And I think, this is just my opinion, and I could be wrong, that much of the dissension and separation and anger and confusion in the world today is because people are thinking negative thought forms about one type of person or another, that they don't like that type of person or that race or that gender or that business or something about them they think needs to be changed or obliterated or whatever. So they play these games in their mind. And they do not know that in some respect, this can manifest in our third density and add to the chaos that seems to be so apparent worldwide. So indeed, we do need to be caretakers of our thoughts and be as careful as possible to reflect what we believe in our heart to be the most important part of our spiritual journey, to be of service to others, to share our open heart, unconditional love, to realize we are all one. All of these principles that Ra gave us, if we can actually make those the fabric of our existence, then I think we're doing the best we can to be servants of the Creator and chaperones of our thoughts, shall I say, so that we think the highest and the best and help it to manifest, because we need more of the love and the light of the Creator in this particular third density illusion.
Did you have any follow-ups to that, Shayla?
No, I'm good. I mean, it goes together with, I saw in one of my meditations, actually, because I was thinking of symbolically a world of the dead, because I remembered something from another book, and it was shown to me, yes, there is world of the dead, but not in a way as we perceive it of dead people, but it's world where the energy is so low and dense. It was like a plane of all the negative and grief, and it's stuck there. These things, these feelings lower, it's just stuck there, and there is this plane of really low feelings and low energy. So yeah, I kind of resonate. I mean, it's true.
Thank you. It's a great question. Thank you for sharing that. I believe Marcella also has a follow-up question from our last chat. Marcella, would you like to unmute your mic and ask?
Hi. Well, thank you again. Good to see you. Kind of actually following up with what was just said about thought. So I set myself up to figure out or find out how to come back to this center, and just to be able to share it, not just kind of in a grace way, but to be able to share it. And the thought really is pretty much the culprit of the entire operation in a way. So the process, not the process, but the action of removing thought itself, it has been the highway to the center of removing pretty much obstacles for love to flow. So instead of one person itself loving something, is more of a love flowing through that person, or the person that actually is in front of that situation, or in front of that other emotion, or which actually brings to experience the actual being, the purity of being with that which is in front of us, which it could be an emotion, a negative emotion, it could be anything. And so I apologize that I can only speak about things that I experienced. So it has been quite a opening for realizing this, and for actually embracing it in a very humble way. I just wanted to follow up on that and see your experience in it, and even if this makes sense. And I also had another question regarding dreams, and I don't know if I can come back to that.
Well, I think what you said at the beginning about focusing thought, taking away thought, is something that meditation is perfect for doing. And I think that is why the Confederation has always been so clear in their suggestions that the most helpful thing we can do in our lives as seekers of truth is to meditate and find that one-pointed focus where there is no thought. Because what we do in meditation, and the purpose of meditation, according to Ra, is to listen to the Creator within us. And if we can remove all of the thoughts we have that are the jumble of our lives when we're out in the world moving to and fro, and focus on that one point in some fashion, whether it's actual words that we hear, or images, or direction, or feelings, there is some kind of a communication from the Creator that we can benefit from, for sure, and can take back with us into our conscious daily round of experiences. And as we're in that daily round of experiences, if we can from time to time remind ourselves of those messages and inclinations and intuitions that we have found and experienced in meditation, and just take a time, like Carla said, just take a minute to think about it while you have a minute, and then let that imbue your intentions for the next period of time, whatever it is, before you need to take another minute and remember why you're here, and not get caught up in all of the hustle and bustle of the world around you. So I think that would be the best answer I would have for both the value of meditation in meditation, and then the value of the messages that you can use when you're going through your daily round of activities.
And in the sense of being that in that present meditation, even when you're going around your activities, it is absolutely possible to do. You can do that, exactly being in front of that which is in front of you with that non-thought, which is the pure self coming through, and that presence in a way.
Yes, the term that Ra used for people, other people, is our other selves. The person in front of you is your other self. The person's also the creator, as you are the creator. And I know a fellow that takes a bit of time before each experience with his students to look at them as the creator. And he's shaking his head right now. And he works at this practice consciously on a daily basis. And I would recommend that for anybody who wants to experience the creator. Just intend to do it and then do it. That's the important thing. Your intentions, those are the most important things you have. Some of the most important.
The most wonderful thing, I think, is the after effect of that. Is like it's such a loving state of being with everything and all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And we help create that. We create our own realities by doing things like that.
Sure.
Yeah.
100%.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. Thank you for the response. I see a question in the chat window from Hannah, and I'm not sure if Hannah is still here. I believe Hannah said they had to take off. Is Hannah still here? If so, feel free to unmute your mic and ask. Otherwise, I did not see Hannah when I was checking the little windows here, so I can read the question. This is Hannah from Flint-ish, Michigan. I have a question about polytheism. A lot of my friends are polytheistic. I was wondering if the law of one has any material relating to and or explaining polytheism in reference to the law of one. For example, Poseidon is thought to be the god of the sea, etc. Is there a way that polytheistic views are compatible with the law of one?
Well, I think that in the basic essence of each philosophy, there is a compatibility with the law of one, because we are all one, whatever we're doing, whatever we're thinking. Polytheism was the way that things were in the times before Ra walked among the Egyptians. And it was because the Egyptians had a feeling of seeing the creator. They were pantheistic. They saw the creator everywhere. So Ra was able to walk amongst them and teach them, although there was this problem with being worshipped by the Egyptians that they did not foresee in their naivete. And it kind of backfired on them, and they felt responsible for some of the distortions in the law of one that came from that, because not everyone in the Egyptian culture was that way. Some wanted to reserve the teachings for the rich and the powerful, and to go back to the polytheistic ways. And Ra suggested that after Akhenaten's experience, where he decreed the law of one in the 18th dynasty of Egyptian culture, that it wasn't until the time of Muhammad that people once again worshiped the one creator. They went back to the many gods. And that was just something that happened that was what Ra felt was partly their naivete that allowed some of this to occur. So that was one of the reasons they were looking for a group such as ours to utilize to try to make to balance those distortions in the law of one.
Thank you. Thank you for the insights on that. Hannah, I hope that answers your question. If not, feel free to get back to us on it. I am looking at my clock right now, and I just wanted to check with Jim, because I know we started a little bit later than we intended. And I just wanted to check to see with you, like, are you still good on time? Do we have?
Oh yeah, let's get that full hour in. Time is not that important right here on this end.
It's all an illusion anyway, right? Yeah. I believe if my timepiece is accurate, I think we'd have about 15 minutes left for an hour. So John Santos, we are coming around back to you, my friend. I see you have a couple questions in the chat window. Did you want to pick one of those to ask?
Sorry. Yeah, I'll just go in order. Here's a zinger. Do you think David Wilcock is a reincarnation of Edgar Casey?
I have no idea. He could be. David is a very interesting guy. He lived with us back in 2003 for a year. And I can tell you that David has a really good heart, and that he really wants to be of service to others, and that he has a lot of interesting things to say. And I wouldn't take exception with David. I would just say that, people have to use their own discrimination with David and with me too. I mean, I might be wrong about what I'm talking about, use your discrimination. I think that's the basic message for anybody that wants to and does engage in sharing spiritual principles. You need to use your own discrimination, because that's really where the rubber meets the road, is what you really think is true. And it might be true for you for a while, and later on you might take another step, and then the truth will expand. So as far as David goes, I think he's a good guy with great intentions, and interesting for sure.
Yeah, from my observation, it appears that as far as I could tell, he seems to be the one source that's pointed more people to the law of one than anything else I've noticed.
That is absolutely true.
Yes.
He has pointed more people than any other source. That is absolutely true. And we really appreciate his help in that regard. And we certainly thank him.
Thank you for verifying that.
Great question. Thank you for asking, John. Do you mind if I go on to other questions?
Go ahead.
And we may well be able to come back to you again also.
No problem.
There was, I noticed Hannah was just rejoining us. And Hannah, I wanted to let you know that we did in fact ask your question just a few minutes ago, but you might have to watch the YouTube video to hear the response. Otherwise, Christian Foster, whom I read one of his questions before, actually had like 3 other questions to ask. Let me ask his second one, which is, Jim, would you at all say that at times Ra's answers contained any bit of what we would call sass? Sass, like was Ra sassy at times? It just seemed at times as if there was some sort of sense of humor poking through. Would you care to comment on the sense of humor of a 6th density social memory complex?
Yes, Ra had a sense of humor, and they had this amazing ability of understatement of things. When we tried to get the Law of One published through a publisher in New York City, that publisher sent us back 3 pages, single-space type, telling us why this information had no chance of making it in the world. And so Don asked them, I think it was maybe session 37, about, are you aware of our efforts at attempting to get the Law of One published? And Ross said, yes. And he said, well, we don't know exactly what to do, but we may have to use some what you would call transient information, because that's the way our distribution system works. They need to have this spectacular information, basically is what he was saying, in order to even get into an area of endeavor, studying spiritual principles. And but we would make the Law of One the center of that. And so Ra said, we hope your Ra plans materialize. This is a cosmic joke. So yeah, now and then they've a little funny for us, and we appreciated that too.
Yeah. Wait, are you saying that's why there were all the questions about pyramids and UFOs, just so they could get it published?
Well, those questions, we felt, especially about pyramids, that Ra wanted to talk about the pyramid because, the 78-degree, 19-minute angle, it can be dangerous at the King's Chamber position. And we felt that they wanted to, and they confirmed that, talk about the pyramid, the way to use it most appropriately, and what to consider as useful in the pyramid. They felt that, the time of the pyramid is basically past, but that there are still ways that we can today use the pyramid. Small pyramids placed underneath your pillow or under your bed can help to energize you if you keep them there for no longer than 30 minutes. And you can build a pyramid that you sit in that has an angle less than 70 degrees to aid your meditations, and also to enhance the physical and sexual energies that you have. So they see value in the pyramid, but they did very much appreciate having a chance to talk about the pyramid, since they had introduced it to the Egyptians at the Great Pyramid at Giza.
Well, Don certainly seemed to want to talk about it. There's a ton of questions in there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, so wait, I did want to ask for clarification about that, because the idea of putting a pyramid under your pillow while you're sleeping somehow doesn't seem to be all that conducive to sleeping. What size pyramid are we talking about putting under a pillow?
I use a pyramid that's about 2 inches on a side, and you don't do it while you're sleeping because you might sleep past 30 minutes.
Oh.
I do it before I get up in the morning. I'm awake and I know I'm going to get up at a certain time. So I usually wake up before I want to get up. So that's when I use the pyramid. But you can use it anytime, but it is, especially, for people who are more sensitive, it's important that you not use it over long, because it can over energize your body and cause you to feel tired rather than energetic. And it's like getting a sunburn on every cell of your body. And that's not a good thing. You don't want to do that. So yeah, it can be helpful.
I believe there were similar warnings about using quartz crystals in the shapes of pyramids, not holding it for more than 20, 30 minutes or something like that, for similar reasons, I think.
Yeah, no matter what it's made out of, as long as it's got the frame of the pyramid, it functions as a pyramid. Because
so this pyramid you're using, is it a solid pyramid or is it a?
Yeah, it's solid.
What's it made of?
I believe it's made of agate.
Oh, interesting. Oh, okay. I see. Beautiful. Let's see. I wanted to go, Marcella, I believe you had another question that you wanted to ask about dreams or something.
Yes, if I may, if there's time, or if somebody else has other questions, please go ahead.
I'm doing the best I can to go in order, and I believe you were the next person in order.
Okay, I'll go fast. Yeah, right. So, dreams. Recently, again, sorry, I'm only speaking about my own experience. Like in the last year, 2 years, I've started writing the dreams that I have, because I made the intention of learning in my life, of learning constantly during waking time and during sleep time. I wanted not to waste every single second and constantly learn. That was the intention. So as a result, some dreams came through, and I write them down. I do drawings of it, of things that would not, I guess, come during waking time, of certain systems of how humans work and how humans actually learn and how things click together for a human to function. So do you have, not experience, I guess that's not the question, do you have any insights as to receiving this type of dreams, of sort of a concept on consciousness or where we're going as a race?
I don't have experience with getting information that is general in nature that could be used by anybody. As that's what I'm perceiving your question is, sort of like I think some people might call it a download of information through dreams that could be shared with others and everybody could benefit from it. My experience with dreams has been more personal. Each of us has guides, higher self, and our subconscious minds, all of which can be sources of dream images that are symbols of what we might want to consider on our spiritual journey that can be useful to us. And Ross suggested there is a general language of dreams that anybody could discover. But as you continue on in using your dreams and recording your dreams and trying to interpret your dreams, that the language becomes more specific to you in your own particular life, so that you would get information that would be very clear. Well, maybe not very clear, but would be very much helpful to you if you could interpret it. And that's where the clarity comes. The clarity of perceiving the dream is what you develop over a period of time as you do this, as you give your subconscious mind the indication that you really do want to work with it and to get this information and to use it for spiritual growth and service to others, then it starts giving you more and more dreams that can help you do that. And that's been some of the most fun I've ever had in my life, was working with dreams. Starting back in 1972, I guess for the next 10 years, I worked very, very assiduously with dreams. And then I kind of took time off. And when Carla passed away 6.5 years ago, then the dreams came back. And I got so many inspiring dreams for the next 8 months that I was just having the time of my life. And I really did enjoy working with them. And so I think they can be very helpful. If you let your subconscious know you want to work with it, it will work with you.
That's exactly what was done in a sense that I mean, it all kind of started like heavily around September, where I went on vacation. And the first day going on vacation, you think you're going to sleep. No, 5 o'clock in the morning, bang. And since that moment on, I don't know, it's just 5 o'clock in the morning every day. And it's the urge to write what I don't think is actually a dream. I don't think these words like dreams, but like it's just writing and writing whatever it is that comes through. And then some of them are dreams and they're very clear and there's a clear picture of mechanisms. And some others are just sort of very inspirational things that are, in the waking time, I don't know, I guess, yeah.
It sounds like you've combined working with dreams with automatic writing, is what it's called, that you start writing about something and then you just keep writing, even though you didn't know you're going to write about that when you started. Again, I believe that's your subconscious mind working with you to help you get more information. And that sounds like you've got a good thing going there.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking the question. Thank you for the response. Hannah, I believe you had a question to ask about chakras. Would you like to unmute your mic and ask your question?
Yes. Sorry, I'm driving and the roads are crappy, but I did not want to miss this. So I guess my question is, yes. My question is more of, are there any suggestions anywhere in any reading or channelings or that Jim may have about clearing and balancing the lower chakras, like red, orange, and yellow?
Well, yeah, Ra goes into each of the chakras in quite some detail about what we need to do in the red. The red is not so much something that is variable or we can affect. It's dealing mostly with sexual reproduction and survival. And it's kind of like the foundation upon which we build the rest of our life journey. So the red and the violet, Rob mentioned also, they're pretty much fixed. But as far as the orange, which deals with our individual qualities that make us who we are, our eccentricities and our unique ways of being, and our ability to accept ourselves as we are, is something that you can balance any movement away from accepting yourself by using your meditative state to see where it was you did not accept yourself, what situation arose that you felt that you did not offer the best of yourself and you feel like you could have done better, then you see that as it happened, and you see or visualize its opposite, which would be acceptance of self. And then you just kind of let that magnify. So you see how you didn't accept yourself getting magnified, and how you could accept yourself getting magnified. And then you accept yourself for having both of those qualities within your being. So that after a period of time, if you do this type of balancing exercise that Ross suggested, then the orange ray becomes more clear and able to let the prana, or the love light of the creator of your local sun body, come through you more easily, and move on to the yellow, which is the groups. So groups are made up of individuals who have their orange rays more or less activated, more or less balanced, and you attempt to blend your individual qualities, that which makes you who you are, with others in a group activity, whether it's a family or at school, a class, or at work, or a team, or a community. There's just endless ways that groups can form of individuals. And that group energy then is something that you look at as a manifestation or extension of yourself. You are becoming a larger self as you identify with that group. And hopefully there will be groups of a spiritual nature that you can identify with that will allow you to expand your sense of yourself, so that you see that you are working with others who are much like you. And if you can work in a cooperative and harmonious manner, then that's the ideal. Anything less than that is something, again, that you go through the balancing process. You see it in its less ideal state. You see it in its ideal state. You let those magnify in your mind. So that Ross suggests it's the nature of distortion, which is what this is. It's not perfect. It's distorted in some way. It's the nature of distortion. In order to balance distortion, one must first accentuate it. You make it bigger, so that I guess you get the point. It carries more weight in your total being if you can do that. So once you're able to, and this is oftentimes a process of many years, the balancing process. So when those lower centers are balanced in a conscious way, then you're allowing yourself the possibility of letting this prana, or love light, move into your heart chakra. And through the work you've done in both the orange and the yellow, you then begin to see the entire creation of entities. Everyone around you is a big group. They are you. They are the creator. They are everything. And that, as you go up the chakras, you continue to expand this perception of who you are and who everybody else is, and discovering that the creator is within everybody. So that's basically the process of evolution, the spiritual journey that we're traveling for every day of our lives here on earth.
Thank you so much for that, Jim. It seems like I accept and can see the creator in others, but it's just, I'm always so hard on myself, and I have this lost sense of, I don't even know who I am, or what my personality is, or what are my qualities, or I don't know. So I thank you. I will meditate on the information you have given me. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.
Well, you're very welcome. And having the information that you now just spoke of about how you look at yourself is very valuable information. A lot of people have those same feelings and are not aware that that is something that could be a stepping stone to a higher consciousness.
Josh, I saw your question. Oh, I'm sorry. Josh, I saw your
Sorry, I was just going to say thank you again. And yes, I'm driving, so now I'm just going to listen. Thank you all so much.
You're very welcome.
Sorry for cutting you off, Hannah. Thank you for being here, and thank you for asking that question. Thank you for helping us all learn and grow from that. Josh, I saw your question in the chat window, and it seems like a really good question. And we do have time for you to ask it if you'd like to ask it. You're saying disregard. Is that out of time or?
No, I think Sue Wen had clarified it for me. I guess Jim was referring specifically to the Egyptian people. Is that correct, Jim?
Yes.
Yeah, so that clears it up for me.
Okay. Well, thank you. I am looking at my clock and seeing looks like we're about at the end of our hour. And Jim, I just wanted to ask you before we wrap things up, if you had any last thoughts you'd like to share with anyone about anything at this point before we wrap things up.
Well, I just want to let you all know how much I value your questions, because anytime the people get together in a group like this and share those questions or concepts or feelings that are the most important to them in their spiritual journey, they're helping everybody in the group, because we all have these qualities and these desires and these abilities. And if we help each other, we're going to get there together as a group quicker than if we do it by ourselves. So I need you, you need me, we need each other. The law is one. We are all one. And I love you all. Thank you all for being here today. I look forward to our future gatherings.
Indeed. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jim, for sharing your time and presence with us, and for everything you do in service to others. Blessings to you. Blessings to all who are here. Blessing to all who are watching this. Until next time. Adonai. Namaste.
I have one last thing if anybody's still here. They said that somebody was meeting on Wednesday nights on Zoom. Is there any way to post that link to that group anywhere?
Yeah.
Sure.
Is that Josh Silverman's group that's meeting on Wednesdays?
Yeah, I guess I'll post it as, if it's all right with you, I could post it on Jonathan's group, since I'm assuming you're a member of it. I don't know how long this chat will be here, but
This chat is going to be
Yes.
posted. You could certainly
I am
post it in the
actually-
Seattle Law of One group, or you could post it in the Law of One Facebook study group page.
okay, yeah, it's a reading session on Wednesday nights at 8:30 Eastern. We go weekly to read each Law of One session and ask questions and discuss. I'll post a link to the group. It's I think it's just called Law of One Reading Group, something like that. So everyone is more than welcome to join.
Indeed. And the Seattle group meets on Tuesdays, 3:30 to 5 PST.
Thank you both so much.
Thank you all for being here. We'll say goodbye again. Thank you all. Namaste. Adonai.
Namaste.